Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we're going to discuss how I package my products that I sell on TCGPlayer like an absolute pro. Okay, I'm not a pro yet, but I'd like to think that what I have learned by watching a lot of videos like this one is sort of a compilation of all the best practices that I've found, as well as a few of my own pieces of advice. Things for different types of products and different types of packaging. And you know what? We're trying to move beyond chicken scratch on a plain white envelope. Let's step it up a level and dive right into what I've been doing since I've started selling on TCGPlayer and how you can up your shipping game. Now, this is an integral part of the business, and I believe that a well-packaged product, much to Apple's philosophy, should be an experience when it's being unboxed. Now, I don't want to sound too hokey because we're talking about magic cards, but I will say that when you get a package that just has handwritten, names and return addresses on a plain white envelope, and it's just stuffed in there with a piece of paper, it looks messy, So I've always liked something that is a little more aesthetic, something a little cleaner. And what I have done here is, again, compiled a lot of different people's videos into what I believe looks the best and will hopefully get people looking at your products and thinking, geez, this is a pretty legit outfit. So we're going to talk a little bit about the supplies that you'll need. I'm not going to go too in depth into where I bought everything, but hopefully you can get a rough idea of what it is that I'm using. And the biggest thing that you're going to want that you don't see here, because I didn't want to lug it out and put it out on the desk, is something I mentioned in my very first video. And that is a thermal printer for 4x6 labels. And the reason that I think that is incredibly important is thermal labels are much cheaper long term. So I started off by wrapping each card after packing it up in sleeves, top loaders, and team bags. I would then wrap it all up in an invoice that I printed out. But when you do the math on how much you spend per page printed, it comes out to being over 10 cents, 12 cents or so. And that adds up pretty quick. Whereas with the thermal labels, you never have to worry about ink. And printer ink is just such a scam. So anyway, this is my take by only using thermal printers. I will say I want to figure out a way where there's a little less waste, but I think it looks really clean for the final product once it gets to the customer. So what I have in front of me is a little bit of the supplies. So I've blacked them out just so you can see what I use here. But I put a fake address on there too. I'm going to use a camera that I set up over here so you can get a top-down view of how I actually pack it. But to do a quick brush over, I pretty much use for both my order sheets, my the invoices, and also the labels, I print both of them out on thermal labels. So that is a big paper saver and also ink saver. And it's very, very quick. So you're going to want to do a little research on how to set that up. But I'll essentially go into TCGPlayer, select all of the orders, export my invoices, and then print them all out right in a row. They zip right out of the thermal label printer, and you can just rip them apart, and you're good to go. You already have your invoice. It's printed all on there. It's a little smaller, but you'll see why I like using these in just a minute. And then I also use stamps.com, and instead of loading envelopes to be printed on, I load the thermal labels 4x6, pick a 4x6 envelope, and it will print the information and postage right onto the label. So this is really cool because, again, you'll see how I put it all together, but it just looks aesthetically very pleasing. So let's put these aside for a minute. We have this is a Rob RNG Games. You've commented on a few videos. If you're seeing this one, the labels for holding cards to the order slips does look a lot more professional. I agree. So I go with labels instead of any tape. I don't use any tape whatsoever. Then we have our penny sleeves, we have team bags, and then we have top loaders. So kind of a lot of plastic going on here. I know people talk about shipping shields. Whenever I've gotten them, the people that use them, I just don't like that shipping shields by default adds its own branding. And it just, I don't know, something about it when everything's all layered up in sleeve, top loader, and team bag, the presentation is really nice, but I'm going to have to figure out whether or not I want to stick with this long term. But then what I use and what I pack and ship pretty much all my orders in are these 4x6 invitation envelopes. Now, this was a little tip I got from Card Philosopher or Philosopher Cards. I always flip-flop his name, but essentially you pack them up in here, you slap this label right over it, and you have yourself a very clean looking shipment here. No handwriting, no licking the envelope. You do it over the seal, just so then boom, right there, it's really clean, put together, and it feels like it's a package in and of itself, even though all you're doing is spending your 69 cents on postage. So let me go through some of these other methods of shipping here, and then I'm going to bring you down to the table so you can see exactly how I package up the cards. I'll go through a couple different iterations, more so discussing them and max amount of cards that I've been able to fit in envelopes versus, say, bubble mailers. And this is just probably not for most people, but just a little bit of info on sealed product as well. I'll save that till the end. So anyone who's interested in selling sealed product, watch through. So right now, we've gone over a little bit of the envelopes, how I utilize these for pretty much everything. I'll be able to stack cards side by side in here too, so you can actually get a good amount that will fit in here. You can see that they will fit vertically side by side. Again, I'll bring you down to the table. But then for larger orders that are lower value, I tend to use these, they're just like random peel and stick mailers that are right at the right size threshold, once you add a little bit of width to it, to mail through UPS as a flat envelope, which is $1.50. So in that case, you don't need to worry as much about jamming these full of cards and having the whole machinable, non-machinable situation kick back to you. So whenever there's a lot of cards and I really just look at this and I think, I don't know if this is going to work, or if I'm spending machinable on top of the stamp rate, which for anyone who doesn't know, machinable and non-machinable is essentially like when it zips through the machine, does it have enough flex and bend? Sorry, I keep looking over to the right to make sure you guys see what I'm doing. Does it have enough flex and bend to be run through a machine, or do they need to physically pick it up, look at it, and sort it? So in that case, once I get above maybe like 20 cards or so, I usually max out 10 per side. And even when I've gotten up that high, it's like 40 more cents. So I'll usually go with non-machinable, pay the extra postage just so it doesn't get returned to me and delay the order for the customer. Then I'd up it to one of these flat envelopes, $1.50 at that point, and your overall weight is a little bit higher with these. As long as it is flat, it counts. So again, you can get that postage. This one doesn't really fit as well, but usually I'll just peel and put it on the front. Just keep it pretty standard. I like covering the back just so it doesn't flop up, but these have been pretty solid. So then once we get into higher value cards, maybe singles that I want to put tracking on, stuff that just I don't want to have questions as to whether or not it got there, I'll then go with the bubble mailer route. At that point, you're spending about $4.50 with tracking. And again, you can get these at the size where it fits perfectly over it. Again, all this stuff, it's very clean looking. I mean, everything, it covers the flaps, it covers the package perfectly. People get this, they look at what you're doing and think, this guy knows what he's doing. It's not It's not just scribbling it on and reusing old bubble mailers. You know, this stuff is not that expensive. So if you're trying to get into the game and you're going to be shipping a lot of volume, just buy a lot of this, you know, sunk cost right up front. And then you'll have plenty of it for however long you sell cards. So you just want to order it all at once. Make sure you have the variety so then you don't get into a bind and you're scrambling around and then buying more expensive products than you should. Just go on Amazon, look up this stuff, figure out the sizes that work for you and that work with hitting the correct shipping thresholds through, say, a stamps.com, and then you're golden. So anyway, I want to bring you guys down onto the table. I'm going to get my camera over here rolling so you can look down, see how I package these, sort of get a better close-up view, and I'll shrink myself down while I do this, and you can get an idea of just what this looks like when it's all said and done and sent out to the customer. Okay, we are back in action. Now I'm going to move these off to the side because it's a little less pressing and a little more obvious as to what you do there. So I'll bring these into the middle. Again, you can see the thermal labels: cheap, easy, clean, professional. That's what we're looking for. I'm sharing my secrets with you, and maybe it will just make the whole entire TCGPlayer community just a little bit better with their packaging. You know, it's just, again, it means a lot to me. I like it when you get a package and it just looks very well put together. And I think this is easier than dealing with plain white envelopes. I see people folding stuff weird ways to try to get it into the slotted envelopes so they don't need to, you know, write the address. But there's other ways. Copy and paste it right into stamps, print it on an envelope, aka the thermal label, and boom, there you go. It covers it perfectly. So what I do, I'm going to go start to finish. So stick with me here. I'm going to be going through some supplies. There might be a few jump cuts here and there while I unpack it so you're not listening to plastic wrinkle. Actually, you know what? Let me open this stuff up, get one of everything out, and then we'll go from there. Okay, here we are with all the items laid out. I'm actually going to bring in some full art lands, something a little classier for our very classy customers. So what I'll do is, again, this is your order sheet. I blacked out the name because this is an actual order sheet. Don't want to give that away. So what I'll do is typically write a little note. You know, if I have a ton of orders, maybe I won't, but usually I try to just write a thank you for your order, make it feel a little more personal. And I'll have all of these laid out in order of how they printed. Same thing with all of the thermal labels for shipping. So then you can just go right down the line as you have them all out in front of you. We only have one. So what I'll do is I'll flip this over and we'll pack the card. You know, it's nice because you can take a quick look, figure out what it is that they ordered. And then let's say we got a full art swamp and a full art island. Let's just throw them both in there. Now, typically what I'll do is max out up to 3 of the more valuable cards in a top loader, into a sleeve and then into a top loader, because 3 is pretty much the max before it gets a little shaky in terms of getting it in there. One moment, gotta tap this down. Okay. So now that they're in there, you can see that the valuable cards, nice, safe. Any additional cards, let's say this was an order of 5 or 6 cards, I would then grab another sleeve, stuff the remaining cards into it, put them behind each other, and then put this all into the team bag. Again, keep in mind, these would be in a sleeve, but we're just going for a couple card order here. You then pop this upside down, in, peel off the tab, close it shut, and boom, there you go, right onto the back. Now, this is triple layered. I feel like people love wrapping it all up with paper and more stuff, but this is not going to get damaged. This is going to be in totally fine shape. So we'll go over, again, Rob, if you're watching this, labels, great idea. It looks way better. Plop 2 labels. Sometimes I'll just do 1. if it's just like a random cheap card. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. These things are like less than a penny a piece. You can order these big rolls right on Amazon. I got like most of the supplies off eBay and Amazon. So now, believe this magic. Ready? So we're talking about 4x6 thermal labels. Card taped right to the back. Boom. Slots in perfectly. Look how clean that is. You open it up, you pull this out, card right on the back. No effort here, no writing. You peel this, close it down, and then all you got to do lastly is, again, if you have multiple, you just go right down the line. You've got, you match name to name, and this is what I mean by the waste. You know, you wind up with a lot of these peel and stick things, but my goodness, throw this right over so nothing pulls up, do a little seal, and look at that. My goodness, John Smith, New York, New York. God bless. That is a great looking package. I feel like that is exactly, you get this in the mail and you look legit. I mean, come on guys. No more handwriting, no more stuffing windowed envelopes and folding paper super weird. This is leveling up the game in terms of general shipping on TCGPlayer, small card orders. It's sealed up, so now I can't crack into this thing. But again, when you have more cards, I'd say thickness-wise, I'd go up to, I usually like to do 10 at most in one spot right in the middle. And then once you get to more than that, I go vertically. Look at that. You can just pile them right next to each other, tape them to the back, and they fit in perfectly. Right like that. So once you get over a certain amount of cards, you'll want to start going into larger envelope. Again, $1.50 for large orders. It's a little bit better. You don't need to worry about stuff getting returned. Tracking orders, bubble mailer, and then if you've stuck with me this long, we can start taking a look at sealed product. Now before I leave this, one more time, guys, let me know what you think about this. I think it looks really good. I'm going to bring it back to my face here. I think it looks good. This is how I ship everything out. I've had nothing returned to me. I've had no problems, plenty flexible. The cards are well protected, and people have commented. They've said, well packaged, item arrived quick, boom. No time at all putting that together. You just need the materials. Once you have the materials, the thermal printer cranks all of them out like that, and then you just you get your station set up, and then fulfill. Pulling the cards takes more time than packing them at this point. So. And I have a pretty organized system for that too. So anyway, thank you. Hopefully you like this. Let's quickly go over sealed product, because if you're looking to sell boxes, I think this is just also another interesting facet of the shipping portion of TCGPlayer and card sales. So right here, what you can see is a perfectly sized box to hold a single play booster box. Now, I think that I might have shot myself in the foot a little bit in case someone orders more than one, but a couple times when I've ordered a lot of packages or like cases, they will literally tape the cases together and it starts looking crazy. But if you get onto Uline or you go on eBay or Amazon, you can find any size box, anything. I mean, down to different inches in every which direction. So whenever I've sold some of my sealed product, I figure, well, I'm listing it at a higher price. I am probably not going to be the person people buy from to buy a case worth, but they might buy one. So I wanted to measure out the box and make sure that the packaging process and unboxing process was smooth, clean, and just looked professional. So what I have down here, ready? Drum roll, please. Karlov Manor. If you've seen my other videos, you know I have way too much of this. I opened up a lot of it. Some of you have asked about follow-ups. I have so many boxes piled up, sorted, prepped to be scanned. It's taken longer than I thought, but I will let you know whether or not it was worth it. We are going to do a real in-depth video about that. So another thing I got was this packing paper, just to give it a little extra protection. If you look here, it just slips in perfectly. I mean, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but not a whole lot. Now, this is when you're going to be shipping, if you're going to start shipping lots of cards. When I say lots, I mean like a chunk of 100 or a chunk of 1,000. You're going to want to get custom boxes for those different products because, one, it makes your life way easier when it comes to shipping it, and then it's much nicer on the receiving end. So let me wrap this up real quick, and hopefully it won't crinkle too loud, but essentially like you're wrapping a package, a present. Just fold it, just keep wrapping it until you've used up all your paper, and then I just put it right over and drop it down and in. So here you have it, very clean, put together, and then imagine I had another thermal label. Let's see, where did I put that card? Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's just say this was the packing, So packing slip goes right on top. This seals down. I won't put that in. So this seals down perfectly. If you have a roll of tape, just seal off the corners. And this thing's not moving. I mean, throw it right on top. Boom. Super professional, guys. I mean, it's really not that hard. Don't use old Amazon boxes. These are cheap, especially if you're going to be selling a lot of sealed product. People want to get their product and know that it's not going to be all banged up and grubby and in weird boxes moving around in a box that's 3 times the size of the actual box they ordered. So this is my little sneak peek into sealed product. I'm probably going to get a couple different varied sizes just so I can pack 1, 2, 3. And then if it goes beyond that, I might need to have a little bit more custom boxes or go out and tape some together like this one guy did when he shipped me a few cases. Kind of an interesting setup. But all that being said, I hope this has been valuable to you. I hope this goes to show that you should put a little bit of pride into what you're mailing out. I mean, if you enjoy the product, if you enjoy the process, you should enjoy every part of it. You should enjoy putting this in and thinking, wow, when someone opens this, it feels like a little bit of an unboxing for them. I mean, isn't that the whole motto with Apple and everything, that they want every moment to be slow and precise, so you're experiencing it. Okay, yeah, maybe we're getting a little too weird and a little too exact for magic cards, but I enjoy it. I think it looks good. I think this is what most people should be doing. Just take a little bit more pride. It doesn't cost anymore. It's still just as cheap as how everyone else is sending them out, and you can just get much better looking packages. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have any tips and tricks of your own, throw them down in the comment section below. The community is always looking to learn from each other. I learned all of this by watching a ton of other YouTube videos. I just hoped to compile it all into one. And otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching. We got a lot more coming, a lot of product to sift through. I'm going to try to do something where I really show you guys. I mean, this is a ugly setup to my right here. I mean, folding table and card trays and just boxes all along the floor. I got little lavalier mics so I can kind of clip it on, maybe go vlog style, go through some of the boxes. I'm putting together spreadsheets to track the value of every box. So there's a lot going on with Karlov. And this was the first go. I really want to make sure I do it right. And then as I do more, it'll probably be hard to track all the individual numbers, but it makes for some pretty interesting insight and information on my end, and hopefully for you as well. So again, thank you all. We will catch you in the next one. Have a good day.